Hello and welcome to another episode of Landon's white t-shirt and headphone art vlogs, and today we'll be talking about let me see really quick, where is art? Public versus private and institutional critique. Now it's a little bit difficult for me to come up with a really good argument towards to whether public art is good or bad, because I'm seeing it as, you know, just a person who's just looking at the art with very little experience and very little true appreciation for whether the art should be out in the open like that or not. But in the museums that we went to, a lot of the art has been moved from its original place. I understand that that is a thing that people think about, is whether the art was taken, usually with cultural specific art, like from hundreds of years ago. That art was taken from the place where it was. There was no one there who said, hey, can we add this to a museum in 100 years? No one was able to say anything like that. Those people passed, and what they had found in their where they used to live has been stripped from that land and brought to a museum for us to look at, and that's just how that is at the moment. You can really see this in the Oriental Museum stuff from a very long time ago, and also in parts of the Art Institute, are all places that you can potentially find art that seemed like it was taken from the land that it used to be in, and now it's here. I don't feel that very much about like the Greek and Roman art. The way it's created makes it look like that it was meant for people to look at it. It was meant to be taught it and looked up, like, oh, look at this, look at what I'm appraising, look at what I created. It's a very very highly realistic pictures that they drew in the different times. The Art Institute is a place where I think they take good care of the pieces that they are given and that they display. Now, the only thing that I noticed, also an advantage of the Art Institute is that they have the library. Now, the library in a way is an art piece in itself. There's a lot in there, but you can also just treat it as a normal library, check out books and such. I even spent some time in there myself. Now, other than that, disadvantage else for the public is people may not have true respect for the art. People may not have respect for the pieces, and they may lay things on top of them and might knock them over the wall. So thankfully, not only are there guards there, but also they have the alarms and such if people get too close. Now, that is just a safety precaution, but that is still a disadvantage of having the art be public. So now, in addition to that, I like to talk about John Dewey's views on museums, because he believes that museums should be a very integral part in a child's education because of the amount of information that it can give you and the amount of insight that the past can instill upon you, so that you can understand what people thought about in the past and what they cared about. John Dewey was a philosopher who spent a lot of his time advocating for education to be more hands-on, to be more experience driven than just through books and through stories. So he believed that museums was a good way to have that experience by being able to go there, being able to see what you're talking about in class, in comparison to just being told or shown pictures. Going to the museum itself could give you a more full experience of the art and what you may talk about, or what you can't experience literally yourself because you can't live in the past. His thought process was called progressive museum practice. So we can also be clearly seen that John Dewey would be an advocate for a more public centric museum than a non-public museum. Okay, and lastly, I want to talk about Andrea Fraser. Now, this woman and institutional critique, as I'm supposed to speak about. But what she does really is she kind of goes out of her way to be controversial in the pieces that she creates. And lastly, I want to talk about institutional critique and Andrea Fraser. The piece that I saw her in, I believe, is called Little Frank and His Carp. And this is a very interesting piece because in the piece, it's like a 6-minute long video. She literally pulls up her dress and just humps a pillar in a museum. Now, in my mind, this woman is kind of crazy, but apparently it's what she does. She is a performance artist, but I feel like she goes out of her way to make things controversial. It's kind of ridiculous. Even in an award ceremony that I was watching on the same page that I will link in the description, but at the somewhere closer to the end of her speech, she just takes her shirt off, I guess just because. I don't fully understand why she's doing this. I mean, it's just something that she decides to do, but it's just the way that she decides to communicate her art. In addition to this, apparently there was even her most controversial piece that she had created was her literally having sex with a art collector who paid $20,000 to participate. Now that just sounds like a porn. I don't know exactly how to react to this. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, if this is what she does, and I guess this is what she does, what can I really say? And if she's getting an award for it, man, shoot. I mean, come on. But I guess that's all I have to really say about this. But thank you for watching. Until next time.